It is 3 in the morning, the house is silent, and you are awake again. You are not awake because you are anxious or because of a noise outside, but because of that familiar, urgent pressure in your bladder. For many of us over 60, this nightly disruption has become a frustrating routine. We often assume this is simply an inevitable part of aging, perhaps a prostate issue in men or a weak pelvic floor in women. However, recent physiological research points to a different, often overlooked culprit that has less to do with your bladder capacity and more to do with your circulatory system. There is a specific biological phenomenon involving how your body manages fluids during the day versus the night. And understanding this mechanism is the key to reclaiming your sleep. It explains why you can go hours without using the bathroom during the day, yet find yourself waking up multiple times at night. Today, we are going to correct this imbalance using a clinically grounded approach. Before we begin the protocol, I would love to know who I am speaking with today. Please take a moment to pause and leave a comment below telling me your age and which country you are watching from. It is incredibly encouraging to see a global community of seniors taking proactive steps to manage their health, and I make it a point to read and reply to these comments. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing as we navigate the science of aging together. Let us address the root cause of this nocturia, which is the medical term for waking up at night to urinate. As we age, two significant physiological changes occur. First, our production of vasopressin, an antidiuretic hormone that tells our kidneys to slow down urine production at night, naturally declines. Second, the valves in the veins of our legs become less efficient. Throughout the day, when you are standing or sitting, gravity pulls fluids down into your lower extremities. You might notice this as a slight swelling or sock marks around your ankles by evening. This condition is known as peripheral edema. Here is the critical part. When you lie flat to sleep, gravity is no longer holding that fluid in your legs. It re-enters your bloodstream and circulates back to your kidneys. Your kidneys, detecting this increase in fluid volume, do exactly what they are designed to do. They process it into urine. Essentially, you are not waking up because your bladder is small. You are waking up because your body is trying to drain the fluid that accumulated in your legs all day. To fix this, we must mechanically assist the body in processing this fluid before you go to bed, not during your sleep. We begin this process with a movement focused on the calf muscle pump. Your calf muscles are often referred to in anatomy as the second heart. When they contract, they compress the deep veins in the lower leg, forcing blood and lymphatic fluid upward against gravity. We can activate this manually through a controlled ankle pump exercise. You can do this lying on your bed or sitting with your legs extended. The movement is simple. Point your toes away from you, plantar flexing the foot, and then pull them back toward your shins into dorsiflexion. We are not just wiggling our toes here. We are engaging a hydraulic mechanism. Perform this rhythmically for about 1 minute. As you pull the toes back, you should feel a stretch in the calf. This maximizes the pump's efficiency. By doing this an hour before sleep, you are proactively moving that pooled fluid back into circulation so your kidneys can process it while you are still awake and near a bathroom, rather than 3 hours later when you are trying to sleep. This simple mechanical action is the first step in signaling to your body that it is time to clear the system. Once we have initiated the circulation of fluids from the lower extremities, we must address the structural tension that directly impacts bladder function. The human body operates as a kinetic chain, meaning tension in one area creates consequences in another. For seniors, chronic tightness in the lumbar spine and the posterior chain, specifically the hamstrings, can have a surprising effect on the pelvic cavity. When the lower back is tight, it can compress the nerves exiting the lumbar spine that communicate with the bladder and pelvic floor. Furthermore, tight muscles can tilt the pelvis anteriorly, physically reducing the space available for the bladder to expand. Therefore, to ensure the bladder can hold urine comfortably through the night, we must release the tension surrounding it. We continue this routine with a single knee hug. This is a lumbar decompression maneuver. Lying flat on your back, you gently draw one knee toward your chest, holding onto the shin or the back of the thigh if you have knee issues. The objective here is not to force the joint, but to elongate the lower back muscles on that side. As you hold this position, you're opening up the intervertebral spaces, relieving minor impingements that keep your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, in a state of low-level activation. When your nervous system is agitated, it inhibits deep sleep and increases bladder urgency. We alternate legs slowly, moving with the fluidity of being underwater. This slow, deliberate pacing is essential because quick, jerky movements can trigger a stretch reflex that actually tightens the muscles further. Following the back release, we target the hamstrings with a gentle nerve glide. Many seniors suffer from shortened hamstrings due to prolonged sitting. We are not doing a static, aggressive stretch here, which can sometimes irritate the sciatic nerve. Instead, we perform a dynamic glide. Lying on your back, lift one leg with the knee slightly bent, and then gently extend the heel toward the ceiling until you feel a mild resistance, then release. This pulsing motion helps mobilize the sciatic nerve and lengthen the muscle without trauma. By loosening the hamstrings, we allow the pelvis to settle into a neutral position, taking mechanical pressure off the bladder. The next component is crucial for the pelvic floor itself. There is a misconception that bladder issues in seniors are always due to weak muscles that need strengthening. However, for many, the issue is a hypertonic or overly tight pelvic floor that never fully relaxes. A tight muscle is a weak muscle because it loses its range of motion. To address this, we use the reclined butterfly position. Lying on your back, place the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall open to the sides. It is vital to place pillows under your knees for support. If you have to use muscular effort to hold your legs up, the exercise fails. We want complete passive release. In this position, the adductor muscles of the inner thighs lengthen and the pelvic floor relaxes. This sends a powerful signal to the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. When you are in a fight or flight state, your body often tries to empty the bladder to be lighter for running. By inducing deep relaxation in the pelvic region, we dampen that urgency signal. We are essentially telling the nervous system that you are safe, you are resting, and there is no need to be on high alert. This structural and neurological release prepares the body for the final, most effective step in fluid drainage. Now that we have mobilized the fluid and released the structural tension around the pelvis, we arrive at the most potent physiological intervention in this protocol. This combines gravity-assisted drainage with diaphragmatic breathing to fully clear the legs of edema. This is best done by elevating the legs higher than the heart level. You can stack pillows at the foot of the bed or simply rest your legs up against a wall or headboard. In this position, physics works in your favor. The hydrostatic pressure that usually keeps fluid in your feet is reversed, allowing venous blood and lymph to drain effortlessly back toward the core. However, simply elevating the legs is only half the equation. To move lymphatic fluid effectively, we need a pump, and the main pump for the lymphatic system is your diaphragm. We will utilize a specific breathing pattern to stimulate the vagus nerve, which runs from the brainstem to the abdomen and controls your relaxation response. Place one hand on your belly. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4, ensuring your hand rises, not your chest. Hold for 2 seconds. Then exhale slowly through pursed lips, as if blowing through a straw, for a count of 6. This prolonged exhalation increases pressure in the abdomen in a way that helps push lymphatic fluid from the legs into the thoracic duct for processing. Doing this for just 3 minutes creates a powerful vacuum effect that clears congestion from the lower body. To maintain the benefits of these physical movements, we must integrate them into a broader lifestyle strategy known as the 3-2-1 protocol. This is a countdown to bedtime designed to align with your metabolic rhythms. The 3 represents stopping food intake 3 hours before bed. Digestion is metabolically demanding and raises your core body temperature. For deep sleep to occur, your body temperature needs to drop. Furthermore, eating late triggers insulin release, which can interfere with melatonin, the sleep hormone. The 2 stands for stopping fluid intake 2 hours before bed. This is based on the glomerular filtration rate, the speed at which your kidneys process blood. It generally takes about 60 to 90 minutes for the water you drink to process through the kidneys and reach the bladder. By cutting off fluids 2 hours prior, with the exception of small sips for medication, you ensure that the majority of your daily hydration has been processed and voided before you close your eyes. Finally, the 1 represents performing the specific routine we just discussed 1 hour before bed. By doing the ankle pumps and elevation exercises an hour before sleep, you invite that fluid back to the bladder while you are still awake. This allows for one final complete voiding of the bladder right before you get under the covers, leaving you empty for the night. Coupled with this, we must control our light environment. Bright LEDs and blue light suppress melatonin production. In that final hour, switch to warm, dim lighting to mimic sunset. You might also find value in keeping a sleep diary. This is not just a record of bad nights, but a tool to identify patterns, tracking diet, stress, and activity to see what correlates with a restful night. Health is rarely random. It is a result of cause and effect. By understanding the physiology of fluid retention and the mechanics of the pelvic region, you are no longer a victim of aging, but an active participant in your well-being. These adjustments are safe, non-invasive, and grounded in the science of how the human body functions. I encourage you to try this routine tonight. Be patient with your body and observe the difference.